Joining me is Republican Congressman Paul Ryan. He's the chairman of the House Budget Committee. Congressman, you have been sort of an architect even before it was cool among the Tea Party movement to be talking about getting our financial house in order. You've been doing this for years. So the moment is here. The moment is definitely here. Critical day at the White House to get this deal done. And this morning, everyone wants to know, is the White House going to be willing to push for some sort of changes to Medicare and Social Security? What would be palatable to you? What do they need to tell you to get Republicans on board for a deal?
Well, I'm not going to be at that meeting. That's where our elected leaders go, number one. Number two, with all due respect, Christine, I don't think it's a good idea to negotiate through the media about what we will or will not exceed or accept. The key is we get this debt and deficit under control. I mean, that's the whole point here, right? I mean, it's been 800 days starting tomorrow since the Senate even bothered to pass a budget. So Congress hasn't been budgeting at all. The only opportunity to get this debt and deficit under control is this debt limit negotiation. I wouldn't put too much into just today's meeting. What I would describe what's happening today is we are now entering the mature phase of this. We are now getting the people, the leaders, the speaker, the president sitting down and talking about how to do these things. And to your point, yes, our entitlement programs, you mentioned them, Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, these are the biggest drivers of our debt in the future. If you want to be honest about dealing with our debt long term and in the medium term, you got to deal with our entitlements, and spending is the root cause of our problem. So we're basically saying for every dollar of increase in debt limit, let's cut more than a dollar of spending.
You know, I get you that you don't want to negotiate through the media, but I'm telling you, Americans are maddened by the process. They're hearing all of this dire talk about, I know, aren't we all? Hear all of this dire talk about what's going to happen if we don't raise the debt ceiling, and they're saying, no, wait a minute, Congress already wrote these checks. Congress already did all this spending, and now you're saying we're not going to pay those bills. So that's something that people fundamentally get irritated with. And because all of this is, look, $4 trillion, $2 trillion, $4 trillion over 10 years, $6 trillion, as you proposed over 10 years. This is going to mean major changes to how Americans live their lives. So that's why people want to know what's going to be accepted for Social Security. What is Medicare going to look like? What's the military going to look like? What are tax rates going to look like?
Well, I can't answer the question because I don't know the answer to the question, but I can tell you what we proposed. My point is, if you change policies now, get government to reorient its policies, you don't have to provide severe disruptions to people in their lives. Our Medicare proposal, it doesn't change Medicare benefits for anybody above the age of 55. But the problem is if you keep kicking this can down the road, then you will end up cutting current seniors. So that's what we've been trying to avoid. Social Security, same goes for that. I have yet to see a plan introduced in Congress that affects the benefits for current seniors. I don't know what's on the table at this meeting today. But I got to tell you, if you get ahead of this debt situation now, we can do it on our own terms. We can keep the commitment to current seniors and change it for future younger people like ourselves. So we have these programs when we retire. The sooner we deal with this thing, the better off we are, and the less severe disruptions that occur in people's current lives. And so that's the deal here. And look, you're right. The reason we're at this point is because we hit our nation's credit limit. Because of past spending. We got to deal with future spending so it doesn't happen again, and that's what we're trying to do.
You understand capital markets. I mean, what happens if Republicans are so emboldened by the power they apparently have in this, and the leverage they have in this situation, that we don't resolve this debt ceiling thing right away? I mean, could you see the future where we're paying more, we're spending more money because we've defaulted on something?
Because the interest rates go up? No, look, default is not in our interest. Default is not our game plan. At the same time, if you simply raise the debt limit without showing any discipline on spending, I would argue the credit markets will come at us that way as well. I think the credit markets will get us if we default. I think the credit markets will get us if we don't cut spending. So I think the obvious answer here is, get a good down payment on debt and deficits.
And there's some in the bond market who are saying the reason why the bond market hasn't gone crazy so far is because they know that there's this new serious era of fiscal discipline in Washington. Just getting there, again, the politics of it is so painful.
I'm just starting to hear some refreshing talk. I'm just starting to hear refreshing talk. Some of us have been in the wilderness here for a while. And it's good to hear some actual realization about the dire fiscal problem we have today.
Let me ask you quickly about the Wall Street Journal earlier this week said that, maybe we should cut loopholes, but we should make a more simple corporate tax system. I mean, is that a way to go? I mean, loopholes have that's what we need to do.
I agree with that. That's in our budget. We say, let's get rid of all these loopholes and lower tax rates for everybody. You got companies like General Electric paying nothing, companies like UPS paying 34%. How fair is that? Let's get rid of the loopholes so we can lower the rates for everybody and grow the economy and create jobs. This is all about creating jobs, getting this debt under control.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, there's a lot of politics involved, too. And as you know, well, sometimes politics can get in the way of what is necessarily the best economic interest. But hopefully everyone knows how serious, inside that room today, everyone knows how serious this whole situation is in the short term and the very long term. Congressman Paul Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine.
Nice to see you.